Hey, we're live. This is an unexpected live one here. I just happened to send a message to one of my best beer buddies, John Sharon, out of Sellersburg, Indiana, right near Louisville, Kentucky. And we decided we'd do kind of an impromptu a beer pub here. We got a joint venture with the Beer Whisperer Pub and ZoneOne. Say hi, John, and tell us what you're drinking.
Hey, everybody. I'm John from ZoneOne Brew Reviews, and tonight I'm going to be drinking Best Damn Cherry Cola.
All right. I haven't had that. That one hasn't hit my neck of the woods yet, as far as I know.
Well,
I'm having a Sierra Nevada Ruthless Rye.
It hasn't hit Indiana yet, but it has hit Kentucky. And that's what a lot of times when you get these beers like this, they hit Kentucky before they'll hit Indiana. So, but, you know, like I said, my wife works down there, and I got a couple of buddies that work down there, so I got an opportunity to I get them a lot of times before they hit over here. So this is actually one I've been wanting to kind of try. I kind of like these, and I know a lot of people don't, but
Henry Weinhardt's did a ginger ale and an orange, and I tried both. The orange wasn't bad. I want to use your description. Go ahead and tell us what you thought of it, because I agreed with you completely.
Well, I done a YouTube video review on the orange, and I thought it tasted like a carbonated Tang.
That's exactly what it says. My thought was a Tic Tac. You remember the old orange Tic Tac?
Yep, exactly.
That's what I thought it tastes like, that same kind of orange flavor. But yeah, I thought you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah.
With the ginger ale, I tell you what I did with the ginger ale is that I used it to make a highball with.
Yeah.
Now you're having that cherry cola. Obviously, you're drinking it as is. Or you can drink a cherry cola as is. But is that something you think you'd try as a highball mixer?
Yeah. I mean, I've not tried it yet, but it probably sounds pretty good as a mixer for some kind of a bourbon or a whiskey. Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty good.
But put some Jack in it, or a lower tier whiskey, something you wouldn't want to, you don't want to waste a high dollar whiskey, but something of that nature, a Jim Beam maybe.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it tastes this. It's 5.5% alcohol by volume. And I'll tell you what, the alcohol's hidden very well in this, and you can definitely taste the cherry cola in it.
So here's how I judge those things, and I know everybody has their own criteria. But for me, if I'm having a hard ginger ale or a hard root beer, or even a hard iced tea, what I want them to taste like is a gourmet version of. If I'm tasting a hard root beer, I want it to be the same quality as a good craft or gourmet root beer.
Yeah.
So when you're drinking that, does it taste like a good cherry cola, or does it taste like an alcoholic beverage trying to be a cherry cola?
No, it actually tastes like a good cherry cola with the alcohol hidden in it.
Wow.
And and like I've said on a couple of reviews that I've done on these, is it's kind of scary to have them in your refrigerator and you got kids, because and your kids see this and they're thinking, cherry cola.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah, that could be a problem, yeah.
Because you can't taste. I mean, for 5.5, that's a decent beer by volume, I think. But
yeah,
and you can't taste it in here. But this is a pretty good cherry cola. And
so using my criteria, and I'll let you give it a grade later, because that's what you do. But my criteria is simple: is it a buy again or not? Is that something you would purchase again, or is that something you would just purchase for the sake of doing a review for?
I purchased. I had a 6-pack bought for me just to do a review for, and I'm gonna do a review in the next day or two on it. But overall, is it something I'd buy again? It's probably something I'd buy again to take to somebody's house to let them try it that don't have the opportunity to buy a beer like this. Is it something I'd buy again for myself? Probably not. But to buy again, to share, yeah, I probably would.
Would it be something we're heading into spring? So would that be something that you might take to a picnic, a barbecue, that sort of thing?
I'd probably pick up 6-pack this to take that and let those people have the opportunity to try it, but I'd probably take something else also.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I mean,
So is that something you would recommend to, say, non-beer drinkers?
Yeah, yeah. Any of these beers like this, like the Cherry Cola or the best damn root beer, I mean, the Not Your Father's or the Coney Islands, I would definitely recommend them for somebody to try at least once. To me, I mean, my favorite one out of the whole bunch so far is I mean, this is relatively a good one, but I'm big on the Coney Islands made by the Sam Adams. I mean, I think those are some of the best root beers and gingers out there right now.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the Not Your Father's. For me, it was too sweet.
Yeah, it's very sweet, very sweet.
And I'm a little sad about what happened to the root cellars real hard, because when I first had that about a year ago, it was darn good. But at that time, it was being produced by Western Brewery out of Kansas City. Now it's being produced by a brewery out of Columbia, Missouri, and they've changed the recipe somehow, and it's almost undrinkable. And it used to be amazing. So I don't know what they've done different, but the new version of it's almost undrinkable.
Huh. Well, you know, a lot of times that's what you run into with these beers when they change distilleries or they change breweries to make their beers. You're not going to get the same one you had the same time last time. So, you know, like now here in Louisville, I mean, you got Sterling being remade. I know you're familiar with what Sterling was.
Yeah.
And now you got it being made at one place. It tastes pretty good. Now it's going to be made in Louisville. And I hope the complexity of the beer doesn't change in it, because I really enjoy the version of what it is. So, and I actually drank the new one of the new Fall Cities. I know you've talked about.
Oh yeah. So how was that? And it changed.
At Hell's Spin Ale Festival the other day, and it was pretty good. And now they're coming out with the Prohibition beer that you see me post the other day, which I'm going to a tasting on.
Oh yeah, I'd like to try that one. That sounds good.
But I think and you made, when you done your video review on that, and I have to agree with you a lot on that. It's an overpriced 6-pack of beer.
It was, and it's they're reviving a classic label. I see what they're doing, but it really ought to have been at least $1, if not $2 cheaper, a 6-pack.
Yeah.
I believe I paid $9 for it. It really should be a $6.99 a 6-pack beer.
Yeah. And that's the way a lot of these beers are that's coming back out. I don't know if you're familiar with what Wiedemann was, which was made in Evansville. Wiedemann. Mm-hmm. I mean, they brung that back out. They brung Sterling. They brung False, and there's actually more coming out. But I mean, they're good beers, but I think they're the price point, they're not comparable to what a lot of other craft beers are. So.
Well, a lot of I guess it depends on where you live. In my neck of the woods, a Boulevard is very prevalent. I can find Boulevard everywhere, even now that they're owned by Duval. But Boulevard does a KC Pilsner. They call it KC Pilsner, and it's an all malt Pilsner, and it runs about the same price as 6-pack in most places. That most macros run a 6-pack. That most of the big premium macros run. So I mean, instead of buying Bud or MGD or even Coors, the KC Pils runs just about the same amount of money, and I found it in some stores for even less. So my choice is I can buy an all malt Pilsner if I want just a nice clean Pilsner, or I can get something loaded with corn or ice. And for me, it just doesn't make sense to buy that adjunct beer when I can buy that all malt Pilsner for the same amount of money. So, but again, it depends on where you live, because I know not everybody can get that, and I have talked to other friends that can get it, and some have told me that in their neck of the woods it's more expensive. So,
see, I mean, and I agree with you on that. I mean, that's a good beer, and I've had it several times. And for price point around here, it's maybe $1 or $2 more expensive around here, but for the price point, I mean, it's a comparable beer. I mean, you're not going to go bad by buying it.
No, it's just one of those good, likable beers. It's not, I mean, it is what it is. It's meant to be a classic American Pilsner. Yeah. In fact, originally they just called it Boulevard Pilsner. It was just meant to be sort of a pre-Prohibition style Pilsner. And it's only 4.8%. I don't remember the IBUs on it, but it's very light. But again, there are no adjuncts in it, and that's what makes it a good beer. Is you've got that light Pilsner flavor if you want a lighter tasting beer, but it finishes cleaner than any of the macros do.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of those pre-prohibition beers coming out here lately. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I think that's a gimmick. Macro drinkers are going to buy whatever anyway. So I think when you toss pre-prohibition on anything, whether I've seen a lot of whiskeys too, if you put that label on beers or whiskeys, you're looking at guys about our age that want the nostalgia of this beer, especially. And I think in some ways you're targeting craft beer drinkers, not necessarily to change their mind, but to get them intrigued enough to want to try it.
Yeah.
But it is a gimmick, and in a lot of cases, it really isn't a pre-prohibition recipe. A lot of them have a little disclaimer that it's inspired by.
Yeah, it's expired. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, if you ever get a chance to try one, Upland Brewing Company.
Upland, okay.
Called Champagne Velvet. To me,
I've had that one actually. Actually, I had that one last year.
I'm gonna tell you, that's probably one of the best beers I've ever put in my mouth.
I've got a review on it, John, if you want to look it up at some point. But yeah, I did that last August.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of that one, to be honest.
That was a good beer.
But it wasn't cheap though. I mean, it wasn't a bargain beer by any means.
No, they're not bargain beers. They're about, I think around here about $9.99 a 6-pack. But
yeah, I paid $8.99 for it if I remember correctly. But yeah, it was. And I bought it at a Randall's in oh goodness, just on the other side of the river in Illinois. And I can't. Oh, Fairview Heights, yeah. Illinois is where I picked it up.
But I don't think, if anybody is watching this or anybody wants to watch it, get that, because that right there is a phenomenal beer, I think.
It is. Yeah, it's a great Pilsner if you want. And it's got some flavor. It's very crisp. The carbonation, if I remember correctly, is really what won that one over. It just got this great, almost champagne-like carbonation.
Yeah. But I had it on draft, and I've also had it out of the bottles. But I'm gonna tell you what, the draft version of that was just like, spot on, dude.
Hey, I don't know why this is, but every time I start talking with you, doing these Beer Whisperer pub videos and ZoneOne videos, I tend to drink faster. I don't know why that is. I'm sitting here with an empty glass, so I'm just going to put my camera, I'm going to keep this running, and if you've got something to add about your beer, I'm going to turn my camera off so I can run and grab another beer, and I'll be right back.
Okay, that's good. But, yeah, this cherry cola is it's best damn cherry cola. It's kind of like the best damn root beer. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 versions on this bottle that says best damn cherry cola. So it's kind of like the best damn root beer. It had like more than that on it. So, but yeah, if you get a chance to pick it up, try it. I mean, it's you're getting what you get out of it. It's cherry cola. Come in at 5.5% alcohol. So the alcohol is well hidden in it. And you can definitely taste the cherries. I believe Tom's going to be back with us here in a minute, anytime. So I apologize to Tom because he said he drinks faster than with me than anybody else. So I don't know if that's good or bad. So. But yeah. So. But best damn cherry cola. $8.99 a 6-pack. Probably a little overpriced, but for what it is, everybody's got to buy a 6-pack and wants to try it. So.
All right, hang on just a second. I'm almost back. Yeah, you know what? Every time I do a video with Red too, I tend to drink faster with him as well. I think it's just when you're talking with somebody, you tend to drink faster. I think.
Yeah. Let me go grab one real quick out of the bar here, and I'll be ready.
All righty. Well, while he's doing his thing, I'm going to tell you what I just popped. It is the Torpedo. It's kind of a classic. Torpedo Extra IPA from Sierra Nevada, and I have these Sierra Nevada beers because, a couple weeks ago I picked up the 4-way IPA pack. It was only it was $14.97 where I found it.
Now, are you a big variety pack buyer?
I love buying variety packs. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to buy. I love variety packs.
You know, I buy a few every once in a while, but it seems like every once in a while you buy those variety packs, and you get stuck with those three that just is terrible.
Yeah, but especially if I'm buying something I hadn't had before, I love to buy the variety pack just to see what's in there. I get irritated when I see the Sam Adams packs because they always throw in the Boston Lager, which I really don't want. I wish they'd throw in another. I know why they do it. It's their flagship beer. I get it, but you know, it's not that I hate the beer. I don't think it's a terrible beer. I just don't want it. I'd rather have something else.
And I agree with you 100% on that. They're not bad beers, but when and I've been wanting to buy a couple of those Sam Adams mixers, but I don't want the Sam Adams Boston Lager. I mean, and I know Scott White's a big fan of these beers, but when I buy them, I want a variety of them. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I've had the Boston Lager so many times. I would rather them just put another seasonal in there so you had something else to try. Yeah. But yeah, I get why they do it. It's their flagship, so they got to toss it in there. But it feels like I've got 3 beers that are going to go to waste.
Yeah, exactly.
Is 7.265 IBUs, just so you know.
Yeah.
And because I'm drinking with you, so I won't have to get up again, I poured me some Jim Beam Black on the rocks in my Jim Beam Black glass.
There you go.
My wife found this glass at a DAV, I believe, a few weeks ago. So, and being a little OCD, every time she gets me a glass, I have to make sure I have the proper whiskey or beer to put in it. So I had to pick up Jim Beam Black. Actually runs about $20 a bottle. But I was able to find the small bottles for 99 cents. So I picked up 4 small bottles. So.
That's not bad. Now, is that real ice cubes or is that the plastic ice cubes?
No, that's a real ice cube. It's from Christmas. My wife got me this tray, this mold tray. It's like a silicone tray. You make the great big square ice cubes.
Okay.
And it makes 6 of them. Let me get that out there for you to see. So that's a real ice cube.
That looks awesome. But yeah, I mean, I buy the mixed packs every once in a while. Not very often, but I do buy them. So
I don't like to buy singles. I know most craft beer drinkers these days tend to like to buy singles. Yeah. I'm not a fan of buying singles because I don't know that you can really get all there is out of a beer in just one. Yeah. I know a lot of craft beer drinkers have become what they call tickers. Just guys that want to try as many beers as possible without enjoying them. I like to buy full 6-packs or mixed packs that have 3 or 4 of them because I want to have more than one of the styles, just in case I miss something.
But, a lot of times, I mean, at a price point for a lot of craft beer drinkers, and, I mean, I may be one of those guys, but at a price point, you can't afford to buy more than one of the beers. I mean, you're spending $15-20, you can't afford to buy more than one of those beers.
Yeah, but it always costs more to buy singles than it is to buy a full 6-pack. The advantage is you're getting 6 different beers, but it does cost more to buy individuals than it does to buy a full 6-pack. So I'd rather buy the full 6-pack of one beer than have 6 different ones and pay $1 more. But that's just how I feel about it.
We went Wednesday night to a private beer tasting in Louisville where it was the beers that you got and the beers that we shared too was only beers that, unless you was in a lottery draw or you club or you was in something else, was the only way you're going to get a chance to try these beers. And I said the other day on a review, and a couple other people bring up good comments on it, but you look at these beers on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate. I mean, 65% of the population is never going to get 75% of the beers on there.
Yeah. I don't get onto those sites. The only time I ever get onto Beer Advocate is if I'm looking for a specific bar in a town and they've got a pretty good list. But most of the time I can find what I need from another site. I'm just not a fan of Beer Advocate or Rate Beer. No. I think they give a lot of misinformation.
Yeah, I do too, and I agree 100% with you. But I'm just using that for example because around here, we got like Uplands and we got other, there's breweries in St. Louis that we hit or other people hit for us that only get like lottery type beers.
Oh yeah. Sometimes that happens. In fact, I just picked up a 4-pack and I was getting ready to do a review when I heard from you, so I'm going to do it later. but it's from Urban Chestnut. It's a specialty beer they only put out once a year called Wolpertinger, and they do it a little bit different every year. And this year it's sort of it's a barrel aged a Belgian style beer where they've used 3 different yeast strains. They've aged in bourbon barrels, and they also hinted to the fact that it may or may not have been aged in Burgundy barrels as well. Yeah. So, and I haven't tried it, but I've heard it's extremely complex. But I'm going to try that one later. That's another one of those hard to find beers.
Yeah. Hey, but you need to send me your address on the messenger so I can send you that beer, because I thought I had your address and I can't find it. So.
Oh, I will. So, hey, John. So you want to spar a little bit?
What do you mean?
Well, yeah, you have a beer group on Facebook called ZoneOne Beer Reviews, right?
Yeah.
Now that's just it's not a, it's funny is most beer groups are either craft beer groups, or they're macro beer groups, or they're malt liquor groups.
Yeah.
My point is, most of them are specific, but your group isn't specific. It's just all beer.
It's all beer, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't personally, and you know me for a long time. I mean, I've drunk probably 3,000 different craft beers, but I'm a malt liquor drinker. I'm an adjunct drinker. I'm a craft beer drinker. I mean, I don't pay homage to anything. To me, it's all a beer. And I love you to death, and I love arguing with you. I mean,
yeah, for me, I don't get the malt liquor thing. I mean, to my mind, that's something kids drink. I mean, I drank that as a 20, 21-year-old beer drinker. There are things. Those are things you do fast to get drunk. Yeah. But as you get older and your tastes become more refined, at my age now, I'm not going to buy malt liquors. I am baffled when I see folks 40 and over, do malt liquors or do chugging videos. I'm thinking, man, haven't you folks evolved? Haven't you grown up a little bit? I can't.
I enjoy good malt liquor. I do.
I can't stand the sweet. I mean, on one of your posts, I commented that Old English used to be my malt liquor of choice. But I tried to drink it a couple years ago, and I just can't get it down. It's just too sweet.
But I can't chug. There's no way I can keep up with a 21-year-old chugging a freaking malt liquor. But
no,
I enjoy it. I mean, I had that a while ago. I mean, Hurricane High Gravity. I mean, 8.1%. They're at. If you buy, they're $1.06 for single, or 2 for $2 for 25-ounce can. They're not bad.
I tried to drink it a couple months ago, and honestly, I couldn't get it down. Yeah. I found it real syrupy, real sweet. I just, I mean, I drank it all, but it was difficult. I found it really just, it was hard to stomach. It was just difficult.
I went to a beer tasting Wednesday night, and we probably drank about 15 beers that probably 75% of the population is probably never going to see. And they looked at me, about half them guys looked at me and go, God, I'm kind of disappointed, man. You didn't bring a freaking malt liquor. But no, I brought a couple big high-end craft beers, and, we had a good time. But I mean, I'm not, and, Tom, and you've argued for years over, and, I mean, we can argue back and forth and still do a video, but I'm one of those guys that, I mean, I'm not craft beer, I'm not adjunct, I'm not malt liquor, I'm a beer drinker guy.
That's okay. I guess the one thing that just makes me scratch my head sometimes about your group is that you see, it's not that they enjoy the beer; it's that they seem to champion the beer. Like it's like almost every macro post, everything AB InBev does or anything, and so much of the posts seem trivial. I'm thinking, why do you have to post every? I mean, it's almost like they're trying to advertise for AB InBev, and that's the thing that just makes me scratch my head. It's, why are you advertising for them? Okay, if you like the beer, fine, but why are you doing a commercial?
Yeah, and I understand that, but I mean, their beers that I enjoy, the beers that maybe somebody else enjoys, but I mean, I'm not getting nothing off the publicity of posting those articles. I mean, but I like the bourbon counties. I like the malt liquors. I like there are other beers that on down the line. I mean, but you know, I mean, I'm not. I don't advertise myself as anything but a beer drinker. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know me for many years, and you know that's how I roll.
Yeah, you are. It just you know, again, as a 50-year-old, at my age, I don't drink those things any more than I have to. And for me, the only time I really delve into the adjunct stuff, the big macros, is if it's you know, something nostalgic for me. Like I will always buy Olympia or Grain Belt if I can find them. But you know, I have no illusions that the great beers. These aren't great beers. They're not made well. They're made cheaply. But every once in a while, they do hit the spot.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the only argument I have is when someone tries to say, well, no, these are fine. These are great beers. They're every bit as good as a craft version. No, they're not. I mean, if that's what you like to drink, fine. But don't tell me it's as good as a craft Pilsner. It's not.
They're never going to be as good as a craft beer. But for the spot, they're not a bad beer. You know, at a certain time.
Well, I guess it depends on what you call not a bad. Listen, if you enjoy that style, for me, I don't like that corn, and I can really taste the corn. And I guess, you know, you drink a lot of that style, and so maybe you don't notice that corn taste as much as I do because I don't drink that style.
Yeah. But you know, we drink a lot of you know, you see my post. We drink a lot of everything. We're a wide variety of freaking of beer chuggers.
I mean, I grew up rather poor, so every once in a while, I just love a can of corned beef hash, Mary Kitchen corned beef hash.
Yeah.
I just love it, but you know, I don't think it's a great food product.
Yeah.
And I think I think that's the difference. If that's what you want to drink, fine. But it does frustrate me when I see folks trying to convince other folks that these are great products. They're not great products. But if you enjoy it, I mean, you know, enjoy it. Don't let somebody tell you can't enjoy it. But don't try to convince them it's caviar when it's a sardine.
Well, you go to Applebee's to drink a Sam Adams, but you go to a craft brewery to drink a freaking Cantillon. You know what I mean?
But you know what? To your point, though, I will say that if I happen to be in a town that has, I'm a sucker for small town taverns and saloons.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of my upbringing. So if I'm ever in a small town that has a local bar, I want to go in there. And chances are that they only carry, they most of them only have the big macros. So I will have my win and roll moments and drink those macros because I want to be in that bar. I want to feel the atmosphere of that particular bar. So, and for me, if I'm in a place like that, you know, a certain beer does taste good because it's the atmosphere.
Yeah, and you know where I live, and you've been here at my house, but you know, we go to Spring Street Bar and Grill over in Louisville. It's not too far from my house, probably 15-20-minute drive. But I mean, it's just an old hole in the wall that's got tremendous food. You go there. I mean, to me, when I go over there to that bar, they got Fall City on tap. They got Sterling. They got Bud. They got Bud Light. They got Miller Lite. They got MGD. All that stuff on draft. But, you know, I go over there, and I want a good Fall City beer. I want a good hamburger. I want some good cheese balls. And I want some good hot wings. And you know, I mean, you've had the Fall City beer. I mean, it's not a bad beer. A little overpriced for what the 6-pack is. But, you know, I mean, for a nostalgia bar like that that's been around for 100 years, I mean, you want to go in there and you want – taste the bar food. You want to taste a decent craft.
I agree.
And I mean, that's what you want. And I'm gonna go down there one day and I'm gonna shoot a YouTube video from that place because I mean, you've inspired me to do it. And I've done one from in Annapolis, but you know, I mean, it's just you want to go to one of those places like that. I like those hole in the wall bars.
I do too. I gotta tell you, man, that is still my weakness. I love a good mom and pop tavern or saloon. They are my favorite place to be. Yeah. I mean, every once in a while, you know, I mean, I'm a craft beer guy, so I like to go to places where I can get a good craft beer. But I can't resist if I'm traveling. If I see an old saloon, a good neighborhood saloon, I have to go in it, man.
You have to, because it's just an awesome time. I mean, the atmosphere, you know. I can, you know, like I use, for instance, Spring Steak, because that's mine and my wife's, Lori. You know, that's our throwback moment to go down there and eat and have a couple beers. But you know, you can go down there this week, you can go down there next week, or you might skip a month and go down there. But it's the same people in there 99% of the time. You're there, sitting at the same seat, having the same beers, having the same food. I mean, and it's back to the old tavern type that everybody knows your name. It's kind of like Cheers, you know what I mean? When you watch Cheers, everybody knows your name. You walk in there and go, hey, John, I ain't seen you for 2 weeks. Where you been? You know, and that makes you feel good.
It does, and I agree. I love that type of bar. I really do. It is my favorite place.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, you know, to each his own, to own his each. I mean, if you like craft beer, you don't like craft beer, if you like malt liquors or you like adjuncts, I mean, I've drank probably over 3,000, I guarantee over 3,000 craft beers. But, you know, I mean, I enjoy it all. I mean, you know me well enough that I'm going to post what I post, enjoy what I enjoy, and do what I do, and I'm going to argue like shit with Tom the frickin' craft beer whisperer, because you from Tom,
give folks out there,
the craft beer whisperer.
To give folks out there a little context, John posted a picture of a PBR, and I gave him a little shit about it. So him and I kind of went back and forth for a little bit about that, but and then he was posting malt liquor pictures. So so we've been sparring all. That's why I asked him earlier if he wanted to spar. We've been going back and forth.
But you know, I mean, you're that guy that I can spar with back and forth, and it doesn't mean nothing to me. You know, I mean,
so here's the thing. So you and I talking now that you can hear the tone of our voice, and you can hear us, you know, laughing. And I think that's the problem a lot with social media. I think especially if somebody doesn't know you personally, you'll type something and they think you're dead serious. So sometimes without that voice inflection, it's tough to know what somebody means. So I mean, I've actually offended folks, not meaning to. I meant it kind of humorously or sarcastically, and or sometimes satirically, and they took it a completely wrong, direction. But I think that's the problem with the written word or the typed word, is you can't hear voice inflection.
Yeah, but you know, I don't care what you type, what I type, because you know, in the long run, we're gonna do something in the end, and we're still gonna be friends. I mean, that's the fun part of it. I like arguing the shit with you on freaking any group we're on. You know, and I don't think you don't take it personally. I don't take it personally. We know that we're arguing because we're friends.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm on my keyboard. My wife will say, "What are you?" So I'm typing and I'm chuckling, and she says, "What are you doing?" Irritating now. Every time I'll start laughing as I'm typing. So no, every time you do that, I know you're irritating somebody.
But you know, and you know, you don't take me personal. I don't take you personal. I mean, I think we could have a good time chuckling back and forth. I mean, I don't take it serious. I don't think you don't take it serious. And
no, hell, I don't.
No, I mean and that's one good thing about, you know, us. I mean, you can give me hell, I give you hell, and we just go on with it.
So what are you doing the rest of the day, John? After you're done here, are you doing some more drinking? Where are you going? What do you got planned for your day? I'm
actually done for the night. My wife's making supper, and I gotta get up at about 4, go to work about 5. So other than that, I'm done tonight. So
it's let's see, it's 4:45 here, so it's 5:45 in your neck of the woods, right?
Yep. So
you're about to call it an evening. You got to really, you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for work?
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So what do you do again? Do you want to say it on live, or you want to talk about it later?
I do custom woodworking.
Oh, okay. Oh, outstanding. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Your bar area, did you do the woodwork for your bar there?
Yep, I done it all. Yep, I built it all, done it all, and everything you see when you come down to my bar, I made by hand.
Yeah, his bar area is just it is. I'm rather envious because it's the man cave that I want.
Yeah.
He's got a great bar.
Everything I did, I made or I molded myself or done. So yeah, so I built it all myself. So All the molding, everything was done by me. So,
well, John, as we wrap this session up, anything you want to add?
No, but I just appreciate you, Tom. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate all the bullshit you give me, all the bullshit I give you, man.
I'm here for, man.
But I mean, I'm one of those guys. Drink what you enjoy, and don't worry about what somebody else says.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you're
Tom Morgan, the other side of that is, don't try to tell me it's wonderful. But it's something well crafted. You can enjoy it, but don't try to convince me it's well crafted.
But I mean, you can. I can sit here and hand you about 15 beers right now that probably 9% of the people's never going to get. But I mean, I'm one of those guys. I mean, if I'm gonna drink it, if I think it's good, if I think it's bad, I'm gonna drain pour it. And I've only drain poured 2 beers in 30 years I've been drinking beer. So.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I don't drain pour much. I will try to get through it somehow. Yeah, there's only been a couple times I had to drain pour something. Again, that's one of those things I dislike too. I don't like drain pour videos. I think people that do drain pour videos are just trying to get attention.
Yeah, I'll never show a video of it, but I stood in line for an hour and a half to get a $20 beer that sucked, and we between 5 of us, we tried to get a $7.50 down, and we couldn't do it.
Is that right? Well, hey, I want to thank John at ZoneOne. Him and I go back and forth all the time. It's always good to have you here at the Beer Whisperer Pub, John. Every time you and I do these ZoneOne Beer Whisperer Pub videos, it's interesting conversation. So thanks for joining me today, John.
I appreciate it, man. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you hell, you give me hell. And there's never no hard feelings between me and you, buddy.
No, not on my end. I hope not on your end. So thanks for joining me, John.
Never is.
And check out John's channel, ZoneOne Beer Reviews.
Yeah. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, and we're off the air, man. Hey, thanks a lot. That was pretty cool.